What's up, guys? Welcome back to another fantastic video. If you saw last video, we did a bunch of troubleshooting on why this was overheating. We walked you guys through a bunch of electrical troubleshooting. That didn't turn out to be our issue. So what we've got is a new thermostat, and we're gonna replace it on this 03 Honda Accord. Process should be pretty similar for your 2003, 2002 to 2007 Hondas with the K24s. This is what it looks like. It comes as a plastic housing and the thermostat all in one assembly with a gasket. I don't think you can replace just the thermostat on this. So this part ended up being about 50 bucks at the green store. Feel free to do a little shopping, try and get a better deal on that. But we're gonna jump right into it. First thing we're gonna do is drain the coolant. Make sure the engine's cooled off a little bit. If we try and take off this radiator cap and it's hot, it's gonna spray everywhere. Could be hazardous to your health. So we're going to give it a twist and a push down, a little bit more of a twist, and we can open that right up. And we'll just set that right there. Now, there's a stopcock drain thing at the bottom of the radiator, right in the middle between the two fans. And we should be able to just twist that. And drain all of our radiator fluid into a pan. All right, so if our suspicions are correct and the thermostat is not opening, when we pull off the thermostat, it's also going to drain all the fluid that's above or below the upper radiator hose. So you're gonna wanna make sure you move your pan over to catch some of that comes out. And it looks like all we're gonna need is a 10mm wrench, or ratchet wrench in this case. And it's just gonna be 3 bolts, super easy. First thing we wanna do before we pull off the thermostat housing is take a flathead screwdriver and this little metal clip here, we're just going to pry that up. And we don't need to remove this all the way. We just need to make sure the little feet, that guy right there, is out of the spot it was before. And we should be able to pull that off. So, and then we'll give it a little wiggle, a lot of wiggle. Oh, see, it wasn't off all the way. So it wasn't gonna come off one way or another. And another note, these plastic radiator hoses, if they haven't been changed before, are very brittle. So you wanna be careful with this. So just slowly work at it, and hopefully we can do it without breaking anything. Nice. So if you look at the new thermostat, we've got this plastics, or this square cut out here, rectangle cut out. What that is for the alternator harness to clip into it so it's not just dangling around. So we're gonna wanna disconnect that now while it's still connected. And it's right up here. I'm sure there's little plastic tabs in the back or something, but I'm just gonna yank it out. So, like that. And you can see how it would kind of clip in there. And we'll just tuck it back out of the way for now so we can get to that top screw. You know, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. We're gonna get on the top bolt here, and one on the left corner, and a third one right here. Now we'll pull those all out. Okay, so we've loosened that bottom bolt and we can see a lot more fluid starting to come out now. And looks like our suspicion was correct there that this thermostat was not open. So we're gonna get probably a fair bit of coolant coming out here. And there she is. Ooh, hot, okay. I don't know, seems bad, so we're gonna replace it. Mostly because I really want it to be the thermostat and not the water pump. So if we do this and it doesn't work, we'll do a follow-up water pump video, which will not be very much fun. So I'm just gonna take a shop towel or a rag, dry off any extra fluid I'm seeing, or especially around where that rubber gasket is gonna seat on there. And just like how we removed the other one, we're going to put it with this rectangle cut out there at the top. All right, and we're just gonna work around in a circle, tightening these up by hand, and then we'll torque them down so that gasket seats evenly on there.
Kind of gotta just feel your way around in there because it's hard. hard to see.
What are you watching me? Trying to find the torque spec here. All right, guys, we got our inch-pounds torque wrench here. We're gonna end up tightening these bolts to 86 inch-pounds, which isn't a ton, but if you look in there, it's like a plastic housing with brass fittings that these screw into. So if you go too tight, it's gonna strip those out, and then you're just SOL, because those are gonna be spinning as you're trying to tighten it down, and it's just gonna leak. So it'll be a mess. Perfect. So thermostat is installed. Next thing we want to do is grab our radiator hose, and we're going to slip this on. And if you take a look, you can see there's a tab here. That's going to line up with the tab right there on the housing. And if this is giving you issues going on, a little silicone lubricant just around that mouth will help, but usually it's not too bad. And then we'll put our clip in. Now we're going to reinstall our drain plug, and that should be straight up and down when it's reinstalled. So now we're going to fill it up with water, test for leaks, and we'll add some coolant, bleed the system, and make sure everything's good to go. So we'll take you through that. This is just water. Don't let the container fool you. Ideally, you would be using distilled water, but we're just testing for leaks right now, so we're going to fill her up. The capacity on this vehicle is 6.5 quarts, I think, with the automatic transmission, and 6.9 quarts if you have a manual. I would also use a funnel if I was you. You know what, I should say, they actually make a coolant bleeding system thing that's basically a big funnel, and you fill it with water and it'll just purge all of the, or coolant, and it'll just purge all the bubbles out the top, and then there's a little valve you can turn to shut it off and pull the whole shebang off there without spilling anything. It's pretty great. Okay, well, it's full at this point. What we're gonna do, jack the front of the car up, because we want this point on the radiator to be the highest point, so any air bubbles that are in the system will flow up and out. And then we'll turn it on, let it come up to temps, and that's going to open the thermostat in theory, and cycle coolant throughout the whole block and get any other air bubbles out. And you're gonna wanna have some more coolant or water ready to top this off, because as that thermostat opens, it's gonna drain water out of the radiator into the block. So we'll just keep an eye on it, and it's probably gonna make a mess. And while this is running, we're gonna take a light and just double check for leaks, both from the radiator hose where it connects to the housing and from the housing where it meets the block. It's probably a good idea to wipe that down, because there is, as you can see, residual coolant on there. But we're looking mainly for drips and stuff further below it as it's getting up to temps. Oh, see, we're just getting some bubbles. Hopefully that means the thermostat is starting to open up. Another super important thing when you're bleeding a coolant system, you have to have the heat on and the fans going full blast. The coolant is what hooks to the heater core and is how it gets hot. And so when we take out the thermostat or drain any of that coolant, the coolant in there also will have bubbles in it. So you want to make sure your heat is on full blast when you do this. So it looks like the thermostat just opened. The water level went down and we can see it's flowing past there. So we're going to take some water and top it off. Yeah, look at all those bubbles coming out. Sometimes air bubbles get trapped in this upper radiator hose. So if you give that a squeeze, you'll get a whole bunch of them out at once. It makes a mess, but... All right, so it's not taking any more coolant. We've had it running for about 20 minutes. It seems up to temp. So we're gonna go ahead and throw the cap back on and go take it for a test drive. We'll bring it back, double check the coolant level looks good, but that should be all. So I took it for a nice long drive, let everything really heat up, got on it a little bit, pulled it back in. Fans were working just great. It actually takes quite a bit with a working thermostat for this engine to heat up. So it did take a minute, but now that we've got this switched out, shouldn't have any more overheating problems, and hopefully this helped you guys. We'll put an Amazon link down in this description if you want to pick one of these up. If you order through the link in the description, we get a little bit of kickback, and that really helps out the channel. And as always, guys, if you like the video, like the video. If you want to subscribe for more, and we'll catch you on the next one.